What's up, everybody, and welcome to Inside the Game, your one source for everything cool in video games. We have a special episode this week. It's Father's Day, so here's the rundown with all the latest for Father's Day gaming.
But this time you have to test your skills in renovation and also your teamwork as well.
And this is a big title coming for Xbox, something they really need to hit hard and hit heavy with. Thoughts?
Oh, now another one is the BioShock collection.
We're talking about Mario Kart 8. This is an awesome kart racing game on Nintendo Switch.
That looks like an excellent show, so let's get started as Steve kicks things off with some co-op action for Dad.
Here are our favourite split-screen couch co-op games to play for that special dad for Father's Day. So it's time to grab that extra controller and let's go. First off, we have It Takes Two by Hazelight. Play as Cody and May as you try and reignite that spark in your relationship in this beautiful 3D action-adventure platform game. Next up we have Moving Out by Team 17, the same people that bought you Overcooked, but this time you're playing as movers in this hectic race against the clock to get that marked furniture in the back of the truck before the time runs out. Our next choice is Tools Out by Knights of Unity. But this time you have to test your skills in renovation and also your teamwork as well as you try and strip off wallpaper, paint walls and move furniture. Oh, and did I mention it's against the clock as well? And finally we have Plants vs Zombies Battle for Neighborville. Now this is a follow up to Garden Warfare 2 where the plants had officially won the battle against the zombies and they were trapped in jars. But now the zombies have escaped from the jars and the plants have to take on the battle yet again. Now those are Inside the Game's top couch co-op split screen games that we actually played and reviewed, so we hope you have as much fun and enjoyment as we did.
Well, Steve, it takes two to review this one. What a wild time.
Oh yeah.
Dr. Hakim, you have to help me now. They have to stay together.
Alright, Steve, we got our hands on the latest title from Hazelight, It Takes Two. These guys are pretty known for their co-op only games. And this one, man, I think surpasses everything that I've seen to date from these guys. It Takes Two is sort of a romantic comedy action adventure game, man, that literally dips its toes in every genre of game I could pretty much think of, man. So, heading into it, what did you think, dude?
I absolutely love this game. I have to say the absolute beginning of the cutscene, when the premises for the storyline got me hooked straight away.
Yeah.
It had all the emotions, it feels like someone in your life has already been through this kind of scenario and it's sort of very relatable to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start off as these two dolls, Cody and May, which is the mother and father of the daughter Rose, who's upset, and her teardrops basically transformed their parents into her dolls to help build a relationship from a book of the Book of Love.
The Book of Love.
It was absolutely quirky, and what a character.
Oh man, that's just it. Like right away it grips you with emotion and it just really sets the tone, but then as soon as the Book of Love comes into play, it just adds a sense of humor. And I found throughout the whole game, man, it's just a steady pace of gameplay into cutscene that usually the cutscenes will make you laugh or again just kind of tug those heartstrings. It's just wonderful, man.
Yeah, and it strings everything together. The cutscenes, the comical little interactions that husband and wife when they're going through a separation or divorce, and the little bittiness and picking holes and stuff like that. But I have to say, first off, when you sort of mentioned about the split screen, so you can either play couch co-op just have another controller. Or what I did was they actually have a friend Game Pass that is actually from the Microsoft Store. It's free to download. So the other person downloads that. As long as someone has the main game, they can just join in and jump in and help you complete this game, because it is so much fun. And it kind of reminds me, the graphical style reminds me of like a Pixar movie. And I find that's when sort of like watching the cutscenes, I'm actually more excited, like watching what's going to happen next. And then before you know it, you have to do something.
Yeah, man, you meet all sorts of funny characters like the squirrels and the bumblebee. Like, it's just, it has that Pixar feel. And like you said, the accessibility with this game is awesome. I played this solely with my girlfriend, couch co-op. You'd played it with your buddy using the friend pass. This game, man, they just wanted people to play it. And actually, the most recent numbers we got, they've hit over 1 million in sales. That's incredible, man. That's over 1 million people playing this game. So good job on them, right?
Yeah, and it's definitely like a breath of fresh air. I mean, 'cause there's so many open world games out, survivals or loot and shooters kind of thing. And it kind of reminds me of like back in the day playing the old Nintendo games, the family get together and just get your Wii remotes or Wii controllers and just play that kind of split screen kind of feel of game. And it was so smooth, I have to say, all the transition, because apart from it just being like a 3D game, there was also side platform, top down as well, depending on what you're doing, if there's a boss battle or if it's just actually trying to get to Rose. Basically the premises of the game is, the idea is you have to get to Rose and you have all these obstacles. So you do actually start off in Rose's bedroom, so you can imagine it's like Honey, You Shrunk the Kids, and everything's on large scale, and you just bounce off things. And there's also another little touch they added as well, is little mini games
Yes,
throughout the different areas.
I can't be in 2 places at the same time, can I? Oh, unless you want me to clone myself.
I think we pretty much I don't know if we've really complained about anything. And I guess if I'm gonna have to score this, there's one tiny little thing I could complain about, is that maybe Cody's character is a little bit too whiny at times. It wasn't too bad, but just all in all, I found he was just more of the whiny guy the entire time. But that all aside, the mechanics of this game, the visuals are next to none, man. 9.5 from me.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm kind of with you on everything you've said. The visually, the quirky voiceovers, the characters, even like Rose. So it got me a bit tearful on some points on the cutscenes. Everything worked together. Couch co-op, online multiplayer, breath of fresh air. I'm giving this a 9.5.
It Takes Two is the perfect co-op experience. A blend of just about every style of game crammed into a heartfelt story. The graphics and the world created are beyond imaginative. From traversing through vast open areas to small tiny caves, you are often left admiring the scenery. And to top off this ultimate experience, the developers were generous enough to offer the Friend Pass, enabling you to play and share this game with your friends.
Is your dad a sports fan? Well, I've got you covered. I got a list of games here that'll be perfect gifts for Father's Day, or just great games that you can play with your dad. Without any further ado, let's get right to the list. MLB The Show 21 is the premier baseball game out there right now. There's no game that comes close to this one. If your dad is a baseball fan, he is gonna love MLB The Show 21. And a bonus is, if he has Xbox and Xbox Game Pass, he may already have it, so you better let him know, because this one's too good to miss. PGA 2K21 is an awesome sim golf game that honestly kind of flew under the radar because a lot of their games came out around the same time. But if your dad is a huge golf fan, he's really going to love this one. He can customize his characters, he can jump in, customize courses. You can hop in and play with your dad as well. This game has it all and it's a ton of fun. Next on the list is for the racing dad, or at least the racing dad with the fun side. We're talking about Mario Kart 8. This is an awesome kart racing game on Nintendo Switch, and if you own this console, there hasn't been a new Mario Kart game in a while, because this one is so good, and it's so much fun to play. You know, you're not just stuck playing 2 players, you can play 4 players, split screen, online, there's lots of different game modes. It's that classic Mario Kart experience, and honestly, it's just too good to leave off this list. And lastly, it's actually not a game, it's multiple games. The EA Play subscription. It's $34.99 a year, which actually is a great value because you get a ton of games. EA actually opens up a whole library of games in this subscription service that actually allows you to kind of just jump in. And we're talking FIFA, Madden, NHL, we have all different other titles, Star Wars, things like that in there. But honestly, there's a ton of sports titles in here as well. And for just that value alone, $35 a year is a great gift for dad, and it really gives him different options to jump in and play all different kinds of sports games.
All right, Corey, this year we're swinging out of the parks, except on the Series X. All right, Corey, this year we got our hands on MLB The Show 21, and I've played this the last couple years on PlayStation, but this year we got our hands on it on Xbox via Game Pass. So, man, okay, what did you think hopping into MLB The Show for your first time this year?
Well, you know what? I've played the show in the past, and it's sporadically. I've never owned the game. It's just been a game I've played at a friend's house or something like that. And it's always been, known as the top quality baseball game. It's if you want to play a baseball game, you got to play the show. And us Xbox guys have, we've been struggling. We play RBI baseball, we play stuff like that, but we've never had the show. And the fact that we got it this year on Xbox and through Game Pass, so I mean, let's get real, it was basically free at this point. With all the games you get, you're getting the value back for what you're paying for Game Pass. So it's, opening up this game to so many more players. And we're going to touch on a little bit later, but we've got cross-platform. We've got cross-progression. These are huge things to kind of introduce into a game that was just kind of so confined to that Sony world. And, I love it. This game is awesome, and I'm having so much fun. And the fact that all my friends now on Xbox have this game, and we're all playing it together. We've actually started an ITG baseball league, and I think this is going to be a ton of fun. I mean, this game is just the fact that it's being, so available this year for everybody, I think is really what's going to give it the most points here. Because I think once we get deeper into this review, we're really going to reveal, we are just talking about another sports game, and it's in a sports game that has dominated its, niche part of the market. There isn't any other competition out there for baseball games. So I mean, the show does fall into a lot of these other sports titles where we start to get, a little coasty from years to years. But we do have some new features if you want to kind of jump into some of those, Nate.
All right, well, I think one of the biggest and newest features that we have is the Stadium Creator that's available on the next-gen consoles. This is really cool, for a lot of people that like to, bring out their creative edge. The Stadium Creator actually has a lot of depth. It can be both simple, so if you just want to kind of build a basic one with some couple of your ideas, then you can. Or if you really want to get in depth with different types of fields and stages and it gets out of, dude, there are actually a ton of options. I spent about a half an hour just looking through just to see what they offer, and there is a ton here, man. It is actually really exciting.
The game modes here, jumping in, we've got 4 main ones. We've got Road to the Show, which is kind of your Be a Pro. We go through the story of, starting in the ranks and then working your way up and hopefully making it to the show, making it to the MLB. And then we've got Franchise, which you looked at. There's also March to October, which is kind of a condensed game version of a season where you kind of play through, chunks of games as you kind of work your way towards the playoffs. And the last game mode, Diamond Dynasty, is your ultimate team mode. It's where you collect card packs, you build your team, and you know there's chemistries, all that kind of stuff. It's a cool game mode. A lot of people really get into this. You know, it's kind of where I'm going to start our bit of a gripe train here. We do get into these microtransactions. We get into card packs, we get into all that kind of stuff, and that is what these game modes are about. People do really enjoy it. They don't mind spending their hard-earned cash on buying card packs that hopefully they'll get those super rare cards they were looking for. But you know, this game is like any other sports game, Nate. It does have its issues. I know you had a few in franchise, so if you want to go ahead with some of those.
Yeah, well, man, growing up playing sports games, I always liked to play season mode, you know, which is basically franchise mode. But franchise mode, you can really kind of get in depth with the scouting. They actually give you quite a bit of options, which is nice, whether or not you want it to be very in depth or just mostly just play the games. But my gripe here is, man, is that baseball, they're long games, man. You're talking 9 innings, and for whatever reason in franchise mode, you're restricted to playing the full 9 games. You can simulate partway through the game, but for me, man, I don't want to play 160 games or whatever it is in the MLB season at 9 innings of pop, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's a lot of baseball. I love baseball, but at least, you know, just I'm going back to NHL like 2000, man. Like you could actually set up a season that was 40 games instead of 80 or 100 and whatever. So, you know, just a shortened season with the option just to have less innings really would make me dive further into franchise mode, because I was just really kind of taken out of the experience by playing 3 innings, maybe playing 5, and then just simulating the rest, and then either losing or winning, depending, right? Like, just for whatever reason, just change that, please. That's all I ask.
The road to the show is similar to a lot of them, other than the fact that baseball is a very statistical game. I mean, there's so many different fields in this game that we have to upgrade, or we look at how it changes as we develop our players. So there's a lot of information to take in just at the base of everything. And road to the show seems to, I don't know, complicate things a little bit. I mean, we go through some of these conversations, like you said, whether it be with coaches or, you know, people in the upper management staff, things like that. And, you know, there's no voiceovers, there's no real tone to it. It's just kind of blah. It's text. It's there. You read through it. You do what you got to do, and you move on. But then we get into loadouts for your players, and depending on how, you know, what position your player plays, and, you know, where you are on the field at particular games, because like you said, they kind of force this dual position thing on you. And I kind of understand if you're just jumping into this game and road to the show is the first game mode you jump into, it kind of helps you learn about pitching and learn about fielding and batting, and they want you to kind of, you know, they want you to get a feel for everything here. And you can choose one over the other if you want to. But I just noticed they kind of every, you know, once in a while they said, hey, you should really jump in and try playing third base instead of pitching this game. And you're like, well, no, I've been pitching this whole time. Like, why do I want to jump in and play third base? Like, it's just weird stuff like that. And then, you know, when you choose these loadouts, there's, you know, 3 different options, but then there's a huge list of options, and they all change your statistics just a little bit. And I mean, it was a little hard to keep track of. It was a lot of information to take in. So I think, you know, people that haven't played a game mode like this before may feel overwhelmed. So it, you know, it would have been nice to have it a little more simplified, or a little more user friendly at least. But honestly, I'm excited to finally have this game on Xbox, man. The fact that it's on Game Pass was huge. It's open to so many more players. You know, I can be playing on Xbox, you can be playing on PlayStation, then you can bring your character from PlayStation over to Xbox. I mean, that's amazing, man. It's so awesome to have that freedom, and the fact that, you know, the MLB stepped in this year and they said, hey, guess what, Xbox gamers, you guys got this game this year, is huge, man. And that's honestly, I think that's the biggest thing the show has going for it this year. So if we gotta score this game, what are you gonna give it out of 10?
Well, man, like you said, with the accessibility with this game, it is getting a high score. I loved it, man. Also, there is so much depth with either the hitting or the pitching. They have so many different modes that, you know, can really make it feel like a true baseball experience. 8 out of 10 from me, man.
You know what? I think I'm swinging for the fences here too, because I had a ton of fun. you know, the fact that I'm going to have this game year in and year out, hopefully now, is, you know, just going to build on the fact that I'll be able to build through this game and kind of learn all the modes and understand it that much more. You know, I'm not just jumping in casually. This game is for casual gamers, but it is also for the diehards. It has that simulation feel to it, and I'm so glad it's finally on Xbox. I'm giving it an 8 as well.
He's taken him deep once. 1-0 the count. One run, 2 hits.
The show is finally on Xbox. With the additions of the Stadium Creator and tweaks to the core game modes, the show is no doubt baseball's best game. But the lack of changes from previous versions can leave the diehard fans of the series wanting more.
Alright, so I'm sure there are a lot of fathers and sons out there who absolutely love role-playing games. Myself in particular, I've grown up playing RPGs most of my life, so I'm here to recommend some for you guys. So to start things off, Fallout 4. Now this is a bit of an older game, but if you missed this RPG, you should absolutely play it. The story starts you off with your wife, and without kind of spoiling anything, because the intro to this game is so impacting, well, you're set out to find your son. So, Fallout 4, definitely recommend that one. Now, another one is the BioShock collection. Now, this is a bit of an older title, but they have remastered it on the Xbox One and PS4 generation, and it looks and plays phenomenally. And with the whole objective in BioShock is you are the father to many daughters, and you actually have choice in this game whether you want to be a good person or a bad person. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Again, that collection as a whole is well worth any amount of money that you will spend on it. Well, within reason. I mean, don't spend over $80. That would just be ridiculous. But okay, my next one, believe it or not, is actually Minecraft Dungeons. I reviewed this a little while ago and more recently did one of their seasonal update reviews, and in my opinion this is a great isometric top-down RPG. You can play it with your kids, you can play it by yourself. It has local 4-player co-op, it has online co-op. This is a true great RPG experience.
All right, Nate, are you ready? We're gonna go crawl around in a couple dungeons.
Oh yeah.
Shout out and a thanks to Microsoft for hitting us up with a review code for Minecraft Dungeons. And if you like our content, like and subscribe to never miss a video. Nate, you and I went dungeon crawling in Minecraft Dungeons. This is the latest out of Xbox coming our way for the Minecraft series. What do you think of this one coming from Mojang?
Well, man, I actually like the spin that they took with this game. Growing up, I loved Gauntlet, I loved Baldur's Gate, I loved Diablo, I loved this whole action RPG genre. And, when I heard Minecraft was going to do it, I was pretty excited, and getting my hands onto it, they did a pretty good job, man. This game, it's not overly complicated, it's fair, there's not a ton of depth, but there's enough depth to kind of just make you want to play through the entire game, at least once.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was easy and quick to get into. Very accessible, I think, honestly. I'm impressed with the fact that they're able to take the Minecraft franchise and kind of manipulate it into other genres, bringing in this ARPG aspect to it, right? You and I were talking about this off camera. And it is a cool experience. It's not a very long experience, but again, it's also coming in at $25, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. But they do have plans to expand later on. But for the most part, the story is based around the Illinger, who is The Illager is the one who's kind of taken over, and you're just off to help out your villagers from the Illager, which is kind of a weird spin, but either way, man, it's funny.
Yeah, so basically this Illager kind of stumbles upon this all-powerful orb, and once he kind of grabs a hold of this orb, he becomes consumed in power and wants to take over everything. So you, being one of the villagers, and then you're up to 3 other friends, locally or online, you have to kind of take back, the kingdom slowly. And I thought it was pretty good. There's about 8 to 9 different missions, maybe a little more. There's a couple secrets, but all the biomes that they used from the Minecraft were implemented very well.
It did feel like the Minecraft world was taken care of right here. It felt like it is predominant within the experience, but there is obviously a lot of differences between the two genres as well, right? Coming from the Minecraft, we're so used to just busting apart the world and then creating and crafting things. Where here, there's more of a linear story, more of a linear level design as well. It's not as open. You're kind of going from point A to point B with a couple little side turns here or there to go explore, but nothing compared to what we're used to in the world of Minecraft.
No, and I kind of appreciated the approach because they did have a couple things like you said. Usually it'll split off and one way will be a dead end, but there's usually loot at the end of it, or you find a fancy tavern or a cave. So it's with these kind of games, those things are needed, and it's fun. There's tons of loot while you're playing. Basically the whole game is you have 3 pieces of gear. You have your weapon, your melee weapon, your ranged weapon, and then your armor. And then you have up to 3 artifacts, they're called, which are basically like skills or abilities. So while being able to explore the map as you please or doing just the story, you're gaining all this loot, and all this loot has a power level. So you're kind of constantly increasing your power level as well as your base level, and each time you level up your base level, you gain enhancement points. And these enhancement points are then used to upgrade all your weapons and armor. So it's pretty cool. Like they have tons of different little passive abilities and skills all within these weapons and armors, and it's pretty cool, man.
I think it's an easy step for people to kind of get used to this genre. It's an introduction to the looter systems and such when it comes to these games, because some of them can get really complex. Like you and I play a lot of the Division 2, and there's a lot of stats to kind of, you could sit there for an hour or longer just looking at all your stats and stuff. Where here, you're able just to kind of get in, upgrade your stuff. You want to add a couple charms here or there to upgrade and kind of get those other enhancements, and then from there you just get back into the game. So you're not looking to really micromanage. You're just looking to enhance your stuff to get back out and go to the next dungeon kind of thing, right? So it's cool.
It's very simple. When you upgrade a weapon, like I said, with those enhancement cores, once you find another piece of gear that's better, which you do often find, you just then quickly break down the other gear, get all your points back, and additional coins. And this game, you're kind of just collecting currency to use it on 2 things. There's basically 2 different merchants that you have, and one sells you weapons or armor, and the other one sells you artifacts.
I kind of was hoping for a bit more from your campsite, right? I wanted a bit more around there to kind of feel like I had more things to do and accomplish, but the game is so simplistic that I guess it kind of didn't really need it. But at the same time, there were a couple minor issues I had playing the game, Nate. You and I played online a lot, and that experience sometimes was hindered by a lot of lag from the servers. The servers are kind of a little rocky, to be honest, at the moment. It kicked me out once throughout my play session. And the other biggest problem I kind of don't like is how the TNT system works, because it's tied to your shooting your arrows, your bow and arrow, your crossbow, whatever weapon you may have. It's still tied and connected to the same thing. So if you're loaded up with the TNT and you want to shoot your arrow instead of the TNT, you don't really have a choice. It's TNT first with your arrow following second.
Yeah, the default button mapping, I don't know. I thought that was a little strange because, like you said, man, your melee weapon, yeah, you do use it often, but, man, I don't know. There's a lot of cases where there's lots of ranged enemies, and you don't necessarily want to use it to kill 3 or 4 guys. You want to save it for that cluster of 8 or whatever, right? So that is a little bit frustrating. And the leg spikes, It is a little bit hindering. Offline mode, I had honestly no issues. So the online, maybe they just need to do a couple updates just from the little bit of experience, bad experiences we had.
Well, Nate, I think you and I have crawled around in the dungeons of Minecraft long enough. What do you score in this game?
Oh man, I really like the lighthearted story of this game. I like the loot system. It's simple. It's really good to, bring kids or newcomers into this genre. So all in all, I had a great time. 7.5 for me, man.
Nice. You know what? I'm just a little bit above you. I think it was so accessible for everybody to jump into. It's that family game we're kind of looking for as well. We've had the Animal Crossing, but now we got a different take for something else, and it's going to keep that family bond growing. Whether you're doing couch co-op or online, it's there and it's so easily to be able to be played. So I'm there with an 8.
All in all, this game is a complete package. A great way to just casually play an action role-playing game with your friends, or to teach newcomers of the genre on how to play these types of games. A fun, lighthearted story with all the quirks and fun Minecraft brings, except one thing: no mining.
I've got a list of 4 Xbox exclusive titles that I think are perfect gifts for Father's Day, whether it's just the gaming dad that you want to give a gift to or a game that you want to play with your dad as well. All these titles have that ability, and honestly I think that's what makes them so good for this list. So without any further ado, let's get right to it. Gears 5 is the newest iteration in the Gears franchise, and honestly, on the Xbox, this game is amazing. It's so much fun to play. The fact that you can jump in and also play through the campaign co-op makes this one even that much better for this list. Honestly, if you've got a dad that hasn't played this game yet and he's a big fan of Xbox and shooters, he's really gonna love this one. Next is one for the first-person shooter dad. We're talking about Halo Master Chief Collection. And this one's a great value because we get so many games here. We get all the Halo games, anyone you can think of, we've got it here. And this is just a great game because you can jump in and play any of them at any time, mix a playlist of all the Halo games available. So honestly, this is just a great gift for dad, and it is a ton of fun to be able to jump in and just play co-op and multiplayer with him. And finally, we're hitting the high seas with Sea of Thieves. This is honestly one of the most fun times I've ever had playing video games. Playing Sea of Thieves on Xbox is just a different experience altogether. And if you have a dad that's into adventure games and action and stuff like that, Sea of Thieves has it all. And the fact is you can jump in and play with them as well. It's available on Xbox Game Pass, which is awesome. You really can't go wrong with Sea of Thieves. It's just a ton of fun. You can be in it for hours. And that world, oh man, the storms, you're gonna be in for a wild ride. This one's a great one for dad. Next is one for racing dads. Yep, we're talking about Forza Horizon 4. Yeah, this game might be a little bit older, but it's still one of the premier racing games out there right now. And honestly, you wouldn't know it was older. This game is gorgeous looking. And if you got a dad that likes racing games, this is a perfect one to get him.
Scott, it is fall because why? Gears 5 is here.
Kate. No. Kate, you can't see this. You don't want to see this. Kate? I'm sorry.
All right, Scott, you and I jumped into Gears 5 by the Coalition. This is a big title coming for Xbox, something they really need to hit hard and hit heavy with. Thoughts?
Oh, well, this is a big AAA game, and it's also going to be on Game Pass, so they're kind of risking a lot here.
Yeah, they certainly are.
They're putting it out on a limb, but my first impressions of this, wow.
That kind of sums up a lot of it right there. Man, I was impressed. This game is stunning, and the story, honestly, had me hooked right from the get-go. I was invested right away.
Now, I have to add on that, I played Gears 4, and the story was not at all nearly as much of a draw.
No,
it got boring. It got stale. Yep. I'm a Gears fan. I played some 4, but it just wasn't kind of what I was expecting. This time around, the cutscenes play like a movie.
Yes.
All the characters are really cool.
Yeah.
All the combat goes into the cutscene seamlessly a lot of the time.
Yep.
This game just was a lot more of the package that I was looking for.
It was polished. That's what it comes down to. Is this from the writing to the audio to the visuals to the voiceovers, everything? You know what, Coalition?
Good job.
Great job. This is a fantastic Gears game, one that nobody, from a new player like myself, because I'm not one from way back from Gears. I came a little late with Gears 4, kind of went,
yeah.
But then Gears 5 pops up, man.
If this is your first Gears experience, this is the right one to try out versus 4. I would not even touch 4.
No, but it does, what I do like what they do with Gears 5 is that they give homage, they pay homage to old Gears games. So there are certain parts where I go, man, I know there's more to this part that I'm missing. But I like where they're leading with it. So if you are an original Gears fan, you're going to get that throwback to some of those little tie-ins, little snippets and
little bits of the story that they bring back up again. Marcus Phoenix is a returning character. You get these kind of old staples in the game, and they're grizzled, but I'm glad they're there. They they direct the narrative really well. Baird being on the radio with you all the time, that's an old throwback, and I really like that. Like it kind of fits his personality and everything. You have this fun kind of dialogue going on all the time.
The main focus this time, though, I think it kind of had a lot of concern with a lot of people, is that your main protagonist is Kate. And her storyline, though, is phenomenal. That is really what kind of hooked me and kind of carried me through. You start off with everybody right at the beginning. Okay, well, let me back this up. Because when you start the game, you go into boot camp. And that is one of the most dumbed down, brutal things I've ever played as a tutorial.
Yeah,
this is like if an alien came down and said, I've never played a video game, and you handed them the controller. It literally walked you through step by step from how to shoot a gun, to throwing, to cover, to this, to that. It was like 20 minutes of just me bashing my head against the wall trying to get through
extended,
this.
Yeah, and you're getting little quips from Baird and the robots and stuff, but it was dry. But in contrast, they just slam you right into the campaign.
Finally.
Where the action gets super intense. Yeah. And then it breaks it up too later on in the game. It's not just a linear kind of path that you're running through.
I like that touch. A little slow down, right?
Yeah, so they bridge the gap between like the good storyline and then the crazy chaotic fights.
Yeah.
But they do so in such a way where you're moving through the levels and it seems fresh. I found in 4, and this is mainly just a gripe at 4, but everything was a hard mode, or everything was a horde mode rather. So you would fight into a station and then you just hold it against a wave of enemies, and that was so boring.
I still feel that a bit here, though. You can tell when the enemies are about to come at you, and you're about to defend this little area that you're in and kind of push forward. But there's so much of it too. When you, man, I don't want to spoil, but some of these areas are so massive. And I want to talk about the skiff.
Yes,
this thing.
Really cool.
Is this new for Gears?
Yes,
it is new, eh?
They've had vehicles, but nothing like this.
This skiff. So it's like, how do you describe this, Scott? A parachute. It's like
a dog sled, but instead of dogs, it's a parachute.
It's a parachute, man. This thing is awesome.
Yeah.
It's like snowboarding. It is so cool from the snow to the desert. You go in and stuff. It was, man, I had a blast. I could honestly just kind of traverse the world just on the skiff. what a well-crafted idea for a vehicle to use. It is so cool.
And it's got utility. It has a gun. You can put your guns on it to store, so you're bringing stuff around.
Man, it was cool. I was popping off from one level, bringing my guns, storing my guns. So you got to bring your heavies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming in with I love the
Tri-Gun.
the
Yeah,
Tri-Shot is so good. I love Gears 5. It was so good.
You know, I'm beginning to think.
So we're mentioning the skiff and running around on all these crazy, huge levels.
Yeah.
This game is just beautiful. I'm playing this on a Xbox One X, and I have a 4K TV.
Yep.
So I get the absolute beautiful particle effects and the smoke and the fire.
The lighting,
even just the menu. Why is the menu so high definition? It's really just quite beautiful. And then not only just how it looks, the sound is just as good.
The Coalition stepped up their game this time around. They really came together to form one beautiful package. The lighting effects, like you walk into certain environments and the way the sun shines through the level, through the trees, and you see this mist kind of go through, and then you're walking through snow areas and the depth that you feel like you're traversing through that level.
And kicking up little bits of snow here and there and sliding down mountains and stuff.
Oh, so good.
Oh.
I went up one part of the mountain, you clear out the level, and I came back. My track was there from the first time I went up.
Ah, yeah,
like
that's cool.
Small little touches like that, the little details. Man, they paid attention to everything. I'm impressed.
Well, and little details. All these buildings you're going through are a lot less blown up than the original kind of trilogy of Gears.
Yeah.
So the games used to look good, but now they look good, and the map's so populated. All these bookshelves are just loaded. There's garbage and scraps here and there.
Oh yeah,
but it's just such a busy world, and it looks a lot more full than the old games.
It looks more believable in a drastic environment that's kind of been destroyed and ruined at certain areas, right? But I hit one part earlier in the week, and it was massive. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it was huge, and you're inside this thing, and I was like, my jaw hit the ground.
Where are we going?
Back to where it all began.
Who's in the shadow?
Gears 5 campaign was the complete package. Outstanding visuals, great gameplay, fantastic voiceover, and Kate's story is a thrill that will keep you coming back for more. Once you get past the boot camp, you won't turn back. One of the best Gears in years. I've got you covered for the Father's Day PlayStation lineup. Which way do you want to go? There's so many great games for Dad. And, well, when the world of feudal Japan comes around, you got to be talking about Ghost of Tsushima. That's right. This steps up Sucker Punch Studios to another level. This is an incredible story of Jin and his seek for revenge and a whole lot more. You can't go wrong with Ghost of Tsushima. Insomniac has one of the incredible titles because why? They have Spider-Man. How do you not want to go with Spider-Man? Spider-Man Miles Morales really brought it all up to another level. I completed it non-stop. I couldn't put the game down. This is one Dad is going to want to be swinging through. My game of the year last year went to The Last of Us Part 2. You want a gut-wrenching story for Dad? Well, it's hard not to choose this one. The revenge and seek of Ellie as her adventure extends even further to what we all experienced in the first Last of Us. And well, you're not gonna go wrong when Dad picks up The Last of Us Part 2. Lastly, I'm going with a PlayStation 5 exclusive. If Dad was fortunate to get one, well then he's got to pick up one of the best titles on the PlayStation 5, and Insomniac's back once again with Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. All right, Nate, you ready? The Web Slinger is back.
Oh yeah.
Nate, you and I have been swinging through the streets with Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is the latest one from Insomniac Games. Dude, Spider-Man is back, and is back in a big way. It's gonna be hard not to gush this entire review because honestly, dude, I have nothing really to criticize about. The game was so spot on, and it gave you that feel of being the Spider-Man. And even though we're the new Spider-Man, I want to say, because he's referenced as the new Spider-Man the entire game. It was funny to hear, oh, you're the new guy kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
But I thought the story itself was a strong focus, and it really carried the entire game forward. And the rest of it just fell into place, from the game mechanics, from the fighting mechanics. Like, it's all there in one complete package. Dude, this game is incredible.
Oh man, it's just like you said, dude. This is a masterpiece. Between going in and out of combat and going into cinematics, it's all a perfect package that is paced also perfectly, man. Oh, like you said, it's gonna be hard not to just gush about this game because I haven't played a Spider-Man game in a very long time. So kind of getting my hands on this, like, hats off to you, Insomniac, for just absolutely crushing it, man.
No, absolutely.
So okay, let's talk about the combat, man, because I thought that was really cool. It's a combination of dodging and blocking, not really blocking so much, but mostly just dodging and countering what they're throwing at you, which is ranged attacks, ground pounds, all sorts of different things, man.
But they mixed it up too, because they added in the Venom ability and a couple other unique twists and turns that you'll encounter as you progress along throughout the game. And this whole Venom mechanic, it's not, when they said Venom, dude, the first thing I went to though was Venom himself, right?
Yeah.
But they reference this as Venom, like a sting bite kind of thing. So Venom from a snake is what they're kind of looking at, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, I can get that. I can handle and go with this. This is cool. But this whole Venom ability really enhanced a lot of the gameplay itself as well. And it just allows you to take down some of the tougher guys that you would normally maybe struggle with. And there's just so much to the combat. It was so fluid and so, I don't want to say simple, but if you timed it properly, it was so satisfying.
Yeah, man, they somehow really just made everything feel somehow so fluent. Every dodge, you somehow, it didn't just look out of place, like you kind of warped there. It just, everything was perfect, man. And you're basically kind of like the Venom thing, like you were mentioning. You have a charge meter that you can refill, and that either heals you or you kind of get different abilities that you unlock, because this game's actually an RPG, man. There is a ton of things to upgrade in this game. And starting things off, I guess XP, like I said, that upgrades skills.
Yeah, for sure. So I completed the entire game to the point where I actually 100%ed everything. I did that in about, I want to say 30 hours. I collected everything you needed to collect. I upgraded almost everything. Now I'm back in with New Game Plus to go and get the things I didn't upgrade. And there's certain like gadgets and mods to your suit. That's what I have left to do. And the way I'm looking at it is, there is an app you get within the game, and it allows you to go out and do like these Spider-Man friendly neighborhood spider quests. So that's how you're going to earn your tokens and points to upgrade your gear. And that's basically what I have to do, is one more time round of that, and then, dude, I am completely done with this game. Like, which saddens me, to be honest, because I'm now waiting for DLC. Is where I'm at.
Man. But I mean, you're like 30 hours into the game, and this isn't a full price game. This isn't your $80-$90 price. It's not quite half. It's like, I don't know, something like $55 Canadian, I believe, 40 American probably.
But it's a full game.
It is. It's a full packaged game, man, because from start to finish, it's just mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. The pace of this game I thought was spot on. I love swinging through the streets. Nate, I told you about this earlier. I was swinging through, and honestly, I got goosebumps. Insomniac Games and Spider-Man Miles Morales gave me goosebumps playing the game. It was so fun. The opening cinematic is complete magic. It was beautiful. It was fantastic, and it just got you hooked immediately right into the game. But then as I'm swinging through the streets, and it doesn't prompt you to do this, if you hold both triggers, L2 and R2, you can pull up and aim your spider web and then hold X just like the last game and then zip to the next platform, right? And it kind of launches you off. Well, I'm swinging through the streets and I'm a little higher in some aspects, and then as I came down, there's these water towers there. Well, I shot at the water tower, not thinking anything otherwise, but Spider-Man went right through the legs and twisted and shot out. Like, it was one of the most incredible things just to experience that alone. Spider-Man Miles Morales is got to be one of the best games this year.
I'm honestly with you, man. Like you said, traversing and flying through the city of sorry, where is it again? We're
in Harlem now.
Harlem, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. So, traversing through it, they absolutely made it really difficult to actually screw up. Like, honestly, you pretty much, as you're flying through, you really have to go on a hard angle to just not connect well. It's incredible, man.
No, for sure. And if you can tell, we are kind of avoiding a little bit of the story. The overall story involves a tinkerer and a couple other experiences that we just don't want to spoil because it's not worth spoiling. It is definitely something we feel that you need to go and experience. Spider-Man Miles Morales, Nate, is one of the best games, like I said, this year, and it's easily hands down one. It's not worth spoiling. Just go pick up the game.
Yeah, man, because you're in for a good one. So I think we should score this, dude, because like you said, we can't spoil the story.
No.
Because of a couple rules, and, well, like we said, it's so good. So anyways, what are you going to score this, dude?
All right, well, man, like so I said, this game is perfect, though, Nate. Honestly, I didn't have any issues. There was a couple little glitches here or there, but that's just gaming. So everything runs so smooth. The story is absolutely incredible. I love all the plot twists and turns and things. Man, I was shocked a few times, and that's why I said the game Spider-Man Miles Morales gave me goosebumps, and for that, it gets a 10.
Wow, man, that's a pretty high number, and you want to know what? I'm gonna have to give this one a 10 as well. The relationships that I've seen created in this game are super realistic. The combat is amazing. Everything is perfect, dude. 10 out of 10.
Awesome.
Ten out of 10? Enough said. Alright, horror fans, I'm here to recommend some games for you. And kicking things off, I'm going to recommend The Last of Us Part 1 Remastered. Now on PS4, they remastered this game, and it was a superb remaster in my opinion. This franchise, it really has these father-like roles, and it's just an incredibly impacting story. So if you go ahead and play The Last of Us Remastered, you're definitely going to want to play The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. But okay, the next one, Evil Within 2. Now this is a sequel to The Evil Within, which is available on Game Pass, so you might want to check that one out first. But The Evil Within 2, this game is a sort of RPG-like experience with horror elements. The second one I'd say is maybe a little less on the spooky side, but still, it has a really awesome story. But my final recommendation, now I reviewed this not too long ago, Resident Evil Village. If you haven't played this already, like I told you to, you absolutely need to check this one out. Resident Evil 7 is also available on Game Pass, so you might want to play this one before you play Resident Evil Village. It is a direct sequel to Resident Evil 7, but they do a nice recap at the beginning of Village, so you might even just want to skip ahead and play that. You have got to check that one out. Alright, this week I'm playing the long-awaited sequel to Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Village. Alright, so this week I got my hands on Resident Evil Village, and I'm gonna say right off the hop, you need to go and pick up this game right away. I absolutely loved this game. It is a perfect blend of both horror, suspense, puzzle solving, action. It's got everything all tied together to make, in my opinion, the best, if not one of the best, Resident Evil experiences to date. Starting things off, it takes place right after the events of Resident Evil 7. Without getting too much detail of that whole story, basically, you and your family have been rescued and are put in a village so that you are to be safe from what happened in Resident Evil 7. But that all to say, of course, all hell breaks loose and you are separated from your family. And kind of like a lot of other games, you're basically crashed on the side of a highway. It's dark, you don't know what's happening, and you slowly creep your way into this village and find out, of course, that something terrible has gone wrong here. So upon entering the village, you're trying to find your daughter who was separated from you in the crash. And through unsolving some of the mystery that's happening within the village, you encounter warlords and the ultimate Lady Miranda. Now, in my opinion, this game has some of the most iconic characters. Maybe their cast time was a little less than I would have liked, but still, these characters, all of them, very unique and just blend perfectly to make this very creepy ongoing story.
Steal my property! Damn! Rest while you can!
A masterpiece that every horror fan must experience, bringing Resident Evil back to its roots while also being innovative makes this game unlike any other.
The one who captured him.
Now, daughters. First, I must inform Mother Miranda. But later, well, there will be enough for everyone. Budama.
That'll wrap up this week's special episode for Father's Day. Thank you for hanging out with us. And don't forget, you can be a part of the show. All you have to do is go to insidethegame.ca or hit us up in Discord, where there you can submit your clip just like Floral Duchess. Floral, take it away. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week inside the game.
Ugh.